Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of the Hardwood Hooligans show. I'm Joe, my co-host Tim, looking fresh with his suit and tie. What's up, Tim?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Oh, we're doing awesome, and
Doing
we got
great,
a,
doing great.
we got a special guest today, Danny Garcia. What's cracking, dude?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem, buddy.
Super excited, man, to talk to you guys.
Yeah, so here's the story about Danny. Tim and I were out for breakfast, and we were talking about doing this show, right? And I was like, shit, I got to get a mic, a podcast mic. Where's the closest Best Buy? So we go to Best Buy, walk to the back. Tim's like, yo, I'll be right back. I got to go to check out something. I was like, okay. So Danny comes up and is like, hey, what's going on? Caught a good vibe off of him and just asked him if he was a Bulls fan. And he goes, yeah. So I showed him like the podcast and like all this other stuff. He goes, oh, that's really cool. And we started kicking it and realized that, oh, this dude knows ball. And then I couldn't wait for Tim to get back. And I was like, Tim, dude, you got to talk to this guy. Because Tim and I had already started to formulate an idea of kind of like some sort of video show. And I was like, we should have this guy on. And we just kind of kicked it. We vibed really well. And so that's kind of the Best Buy story that we got. You know, he ended up selling me my podcast mic, and now he's a guest on our third show. So it's pretty dope, man. When you just interact with people, you never know who you're going to meet. You know, never know what's going to happen. And I think we got a good friend here and somebody who's going to kick it with us and talk a little hoops to the late night with me and Tim.
Let's not
You ready,
forget,
man?
I sold you a dud mic, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me that night. So I'm just going to end this call right now, if that's cool. No, man, we're super stoked to have you, dude. And
Thanks, man.
Yep, no problem. So a couple of topics we're going to get into tonight. First one, we're going to talk a little NBA Finals off the top. Then I didn't blow up Twitter, but the poll did with talking about and asking if Giannis is a top 5 NBA player. So we'll get into that. And finally, that Coby White rumor from Steve Kyler that's making the rounds. All three of us are pretty frustrated about it. If it's true, yep, agree, Danny. So let's get into it. Danny, I'm going to kick it off to you first. NBA Finals. What are your Game 1 and Game 2 takeaways, buddy?
Game 1, Toronto came in there, man, and a lot of momentum, you know. Kawhi had a great game. Siakam. It was a great game. They did what they had to do, man. Game 2 is just, I don't know, they were just kind of flat, you know. DeMarcus Cousins actually came in and contributed, which was interesting, man. It was like it wasn't really Clay and Curry that, you know, won that game. In my opinion, it was the bench. You know, it was the role players, Iguodala, you know, Cousins, you know, the supporting cast. They did a really, really good job, and I'm shocked how good they're doing without having Kevin Durant. You know, having KD, man, that's just, you know, for them, they've won championships without him, but having him just makes them just above elite. You know, so I'm interested to see how Toronto responds. You know, after getting punched in the mouth. You know, but it's a really good series, man. They're matched pretty well, but I mean, Durant, if he comes back, man, he just puts him over that, you know, that elite status.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kevin Durant is like, I think Ross joked about it. You know, he's just kind of looming in the background, just, you know, like a Game of Thrones dragon, just ready to prowl, you know, on the Raptors. If he comes back, this series is over. You know, they have no shot of, you know, of winning it all. Clay, his ankle, is it, what is it? What's wrong with him? His knee or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he played through a major ankle injury last year, you know, during the finals, I think. Dude's tough as rocks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, Steve Kerr said something along the lines like, if he's like, you know, on his deathbed, he's still gonna race out and try to play, you know, in the game.
Hamstring tightness.
Yeah.
Tightness.
Okay, hamstring.
Yep.
Yeah, hamstring tightness. Yeah, that's what it was. Wasn't a knee injury.
Yep.
That could probably kick him out. Yeah, so the hamstring might hinder him. You know, he definitely likes to move around and find those pockets to get that three off. But his release is so quick. I'm not really worried about him. It's not like he takes people off the dribble that much. But then again, it puts that much more pressure on Steph. Just to bring it. Um, I was glad to see Iguodala hit that crazy three at the end of the game. They only need about 2 or 3 threes from Iggy, you know, and to play that suffocating defense that he does to keep him in the ball game. Livingston had an unbelievable catch, at the end of the game to before that assist to Iguodala. So yeah, I think this game's gonna be close, especially now that Kayvon Looney's out too. I think I heard he had a broken collarbone or something like that. So I think that pretty much rules him out for the rest of the series. But yeah, I think with the home court advantage, Golden State is gonna bring it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 10 plus.
No, I agree. It's we were talking with Ross in our second show, and all three of us predicted that Golden State would respond to the challenge, right? They're champions, and then that whole Drake stuff with Draymond is like you just gave him some extra firepower and juice that you probably shouldn't have. I was just waiting for Curry to heat up. He started 0 for 6, and I was like, man, if Steph gets it going, it felt like Toronto was on the verge of blowing him out. And then Steph started to heat up a little bit. And at halftime, I was watching the game with my dad, and we had the volume all the way up, right? And I said, Dad, do you hear anything right now? And he goes, nah. I was like, yeah, the arena's freaking dead. Like, it felt like Toronto should have been up by a lot more, and Golden State was right there. Then Golden State went on that 18-0 run to open up the third quarter, and the game was over. Quinn fucking Cook hit 3 threes. So we talk about Siakam in game 1. The role players for Golden State in game 2 stepped up. Like, Danny mentioned Cousins, right? Tim mentioned Iggy. Quinn Cook, those guys.
Another player, Andrew Bogut brought it, man. Like
He did.
He probably wasn't expecting to play, with Kayvon going down. He caught a couple huge alley-oops and just throw those down. It's like, where's this dude been? You know what I'm saying? Like,
veteran, man. He's a veteran guy, The guy, he's been around the league, man. He's ready. He's ready for that opportunity, to contribute. And that's what, like, man, it seems like every finals you'll have that guy that comes off the bench you never thought, would contribute, and they do. So I think Bogut's been that guy. Cousins, I didn't really expect a lot from him this year, coming off injury, but he comes in and plays really good. So no, it's good to see. It's good to see a role player like that, shine in the playoffs.
Yeah, they really brought it, man. It's crazy to me that they played the half that they did, the first half, and Golden State only being down 5 points. It was crazy to me. Like, Joe and I were texting throughout the whole game. We're like, what the hell? Like, how are they only down 5 points? Just like the timely shooting of like Steph, he finally, he'd break loose and he hit a couple threes. But I mean, he didn't shoot well from the floor, but it was the timely shots that Golden State continuously made.
Sure. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Danny. Go.
I was going to say that, who doesn't get a lot of credit, I feel, is like Steve Kerr, man. This guy's an amazing coach. He's always making, it seems like, the right move, and whatever, if it's bringing in, a guy off the bench like Bogut, and, I mean, that guy's become, I think, an elite coach in the league, so he knows how to press those right buttons and help these guys keep their composure, even if they're getting blown out. He calms them down, man. If he can calm down a guy like Draymond Green, and have him play, team ball. I mean, shout out to that guy, man, because I don't think there's a coach in the league other than Pop that could probably.
I couldn't put up with Draymond. I couldn't put up with Draymond.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean,
that would drive me fucking crazy.
And he knows how to control him, man. So.
I mean, he suspended him for a game.
Yeah,
and he didn't take Steve's head off.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
it was like a dad. It was like when your dad is disappointed in you, and he tells you're like, damn, that's what happened. He had to discipline him, but he understand what he did was wrong, and props to Steve, man. I'm really, really happy. I mean, obviously it was a Bulls player, so one day, man, hopefully he'll become our coach. But
down the line for sure. He's got that Phil Jackson vibe. Jackson vibe about him. He's not the greatest like X's and O's guy, but the ability to manage ego. And yeah, you've got to have talent. Phil had talent, right? He had Jordan and Pippen and Kobe and Shaq. But you got to know how to manage like hyper competitive guys and keep them going towards the same goal. A lot of people won't give him credit because, Durant joined and everything, but they've rolled through the playoffs and they responded in game 2. He surrounds himself with really smart people. That's a good leader. He's a really, really good leader. And looking back now, turning down that Knicks job for the Warriors job, he looks like a genius. Because I remember when Phil wanted him for that Knicks job, and he was like, "Nah, I think I'm going to go to Golden State and develop Steph and Clay and Draymond and win a couple titles over there." So no, for sure, I don't think Kerr gets enough credit. I agree with you, Danny. I think, yeah, you need an elite talent, and some will argue anybody could coach those guys. Well, I mean, to keep them rowing the same way with some of the drama that happened this year with Draymond and KD, and they get bored, how do you challenge these guys when they know they're so fucking good? They know they're so good, they can turn it up and ratchet up at any time. How do you keep them focused, like, without getting bored? And he has ways of pressing these buttons and responding. So, man, yeah, I totally agree, man. I think Kerr is super underrated and doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, I think of Kerr as the Belichick of Golden State, of the NBA. I'm sorry, where they can have injuries, man, and then he just brings somebody in, they step up right away. It's like they don't miss a beat, So,
I mean, you look at like I think his name is Alonzo McKinney, right? He was playing in the G League last year.
Yeah.
And now he's playing major minute, like in the playoffs in this stretch. I think he was even with the Windy City Bulls for last year, actually.
Probably was.
The G League for the Bulls organization. But they step in continuously and they produce. Quinn Cook, he was in the G League. There's been tons of examples like that. Patrick McCaw, I love how he held that like follow through in game 1. Just after he hit that 3 against Golden State.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Hey, this is what you're missing,"
Yeah.
No, but they don't miss him too much because these players that they get, they all have that same type of pedigree, that Steve instills in them. And
he keeps them prepared too. Like, it's like the next man up mentality. Like, you better be ready if I call on your number. And that's Kerr, man. That's the leadership. That's the accountability. That's the respect they have for him. Sure, yeah, it's easier to play off Steph, but you're talking game 2 of the NBA Finals. What Quinn Cook did jack shit in game 1, right? Comes up and heats up for 3 threes off the bench in the third quarter. Like, these unsung heroes. Steph's gonna get, like Danny said, Steph's gonna get a lot of credit for sure. Clay played pretty well in that first half before he injured his hammy. Draymond came out like a bat out of hell. Like, that dude, whatever Drake said to that dude, you probably shouldn't have said that.
I think he almost got a triple-double, right?
Yeah, he missed it by an assist.
An assist.
Well, yeah. Siakam was like 5 of 16.
18, homie.
18. Completely took him out. He wasn't even recognizable on the court. Not just the scoring, but it was the activity level. Draymond is like, dude,
you know why Siakam didn't shoot a great percentage? He thrives in the open court. And what did Golden State struggle with in game 1? Getting back in transition D. Yeah. So, I mean, I think they really, that the message that Steve Kerr really, hit home with the boys was get back on defense. And the energy has to be high. So Siakam, wasn't catching the ball, on a fast break and, just Euro stepping around for easy layups. I mean, dude really had to work for a shot. And we've seen that, when in the Philadelphia series, like he was hesitant to even shoot the ball at some stretches of that series. So I tweeted out earlier, after game 1 that he wouldn't shoot over 50% in any game for the rest of the finals. So I'm sticking by that. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. If in order for Toronto to win the series, he's got to step up. He has to, Lowry has got to step up as well,
Been
because
terrible, bro. He's been
yeah,
terrible.
he's been terrible, man. In the
Who do you think,
playoffs in
who do you
general,
think has been the most, Danny? Who do you think the most disappointing player in the series has been so far?
Lowry for sure.
2 of
Lowry.
9 in the first game, 4 of 11
Terrible.
in the second game.
Terrible,
That's
man.
an all-star fucking guard that's
Yep.
playing like shit.
Yep.
I mean,
He's
he
got to step up.
brings it on defense. I get that. He's taken so many charges throughout this playoff, run of the Toronto Raptors, but
Sure.
you have to stay out of foul trouble. You have to stay out of foul trouble, number one. And number two, like, you have to be able to knock down open threes. That's your calling card. I don't know, man.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you, man. He's got to hit those open shots, man. You can't put all the the weight on Kawhi's shoulders. These guys got to step up, man, because Golden State, man, if Steph has a bad day, at least you got Klay Thompson there. If Klay Thompson has a bad day, when Durant's healthy, you got him or Draymond, or their bench. Toronto doesn't have that luxury. They don't have those guys that can, fill the void. It's just the three, really. To me, it's just Lowry, Kawhi, and Siakam. And if one of those guys struggles, it seems like they just can't get over that hump, to beat Golden State. Because Golden State, man, it seems like all those guys they're always clicking. They're always clicking. Steph may start off slow, miss a couple of shots, but when it's crunch time, man, you just see him like just draining threes. He's a big time player. So in order for Toronto to have a chance, Kyle Lowry's got to step up his game for sure.
And I don't know, I was going in and out of following the regular season this year, as far because like with the Bulls and everything else, it was like my interest in the NBA and the Bulls in general like went down. I just looked up Lowry's numbers. He was an all-star this year, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that accurate or no?
It sounds accurate. I've seen crazier things in the East.
Like I might be wrong there, but dude, he only shot like 42% from the field this year and was averaging like 14 points a game. So
share your screen, Joe.
Hang on. Give me a sec. So hold up just a sec. We try new features out on this show. see if I don't mess it up here. So per game, right? These are his numbers in 2019. 14.2 points a game. 41% from the field. Now, he missed 17 games, so maybe the injury kind of hurt him there. Let's hop down to the playoffs. Where are we at here? Playoffs per game. 14.2, 43% in the playoffs. He actually didn't play too bad in the Eastern Conference Finals. His numbers have actually gone up in the playoffs, but you can't have 2 of 9 and 4 of 11. You just can't.
How many shots is he attempting to get? He's only attempting 11 shots per game.
Yep.
That's got to go up. Yeah.
Yep. He's got to. It's hard to match Curry, but you got to at least put some pressure on Curry and negate, I guess, is the word I'm looking for, some of that performance and chew into that because Fred VanVleet's outplaying Lowry. Dude,
yeah,
Fred VanVleet was outplaying. He was outplaying. Pop you guys back up on screen. He was out playing Curry for the second quarter. Like he was dicking Curry, dude. Just stealing the ball from him, playing tough D, driving on him, finishing. And it was like, Steph, dude, wake up. And he did. And I was like, oh, okay.
He did.
There he is. Yeah, there he is.
And not to mention that Kyle Lowry is getting paid like a superstar. You got to show up, bro. He's getting paid, what, $30 million a year, Joe? You got to.
I'll look that up.
That's just absolutely.
Yeah, he was a 2019 All-Star reserve this year. How the F with those stats were you an All-Star reserve this year? A and B. Yeah, let's look up his contract and I'll share that with you guys.
It just shows you how weak the East is, man. When you got that guy becoming, an All-Star.
Yeah, hold up.
I mean, we spoke about. I was on the phone with Joe earlier.
Here's his contract right now, by the way.
Jesus.
31. He makes 30. Well, he's only got 1 year left. 33 mil next year.
Damn.
Yeah, overpaid like a motherfucker, for sure.
Wow,
Yeah, he's got it. You can't
they're stuck with him
guard,
too.
dude. Guard play is king, man. It's a guard driven league, and you can't rely on Kawhi.
What
And
do you
you
think?
can't.
What do you think? Kyle is top 20 point guards in the league.
You guys are back on.
Is he top 20? Is he top 15 even?
So as
I
far as
don't even know
point
if I
guards,
would
I
go that
mean,
far.
no,
No, I wouldn't
man.
say top 20. I wouldn't say top 20. We could probably name 20 players better than Kyle Lowry right
I
now. Based
agree.
off a hit this season and these numbers, D Rose was better than Kyle Lowry this year. Played almost the same amount of games and had better averages than Kyle Lowry this year.
Yeah.
So if Kyle Lowry is a top 20 player, then D Rose is a top 20 player.
For
Based
sure.
off the numbers we're looking at.
And I was maybe I said top player. I meant top point guard.
Oh
At
shit.
his position.
I mean,
Maybe top 10. I think maybe he cracked the top 10. But if he does, he's like number 10. You know, he's definitely not an elite, class. I mean, you got Steph,
Like David
you got
Kaplan
Westbrook.
says, he is not elite.
Nope.
Exactly.
Nope. I think. What are your guys' predictions for how the rest of the series goes? Actually, first off, when does Durant come back? Because he's out game 3. When does he come back? And what's your prediction for the rest of the series?
I'm gonna say game 5. Durant will probably come back. I actually don't see Toronto winning another game. I think it's gonna be Golden State from here on out. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough to beat them in Golden State. I just don't see. I don't see these guys. Experience matters really, and I think the one that has the most experience on Toronto is Kawhi Leonard. He was a Finals MVP, so he knows what it is to win a championship. But I just think that Golden State just got too much ammunition. They got too many elite players. They got so many mismatches. Like I said, they have Steve Kerr, who's been there. Toronto's coach. I don't think this might be his first finals if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So it's different, man. I tell people all the time that playoff basketball is a whole different beast, man. I mean, every single possession matters. Defense defense wins championships, I would say. So you're gonna have to play your ass off, on both sides of the ball. Not play James Harden defense. You got to bust your ass. Exactly. So I think experience and it just all the weapons that Golden State has, it's going to be too much for Toronto to overcome.
So you got Warriors in 5?
In 5.
Tim, what you got?
Yeah, man, I'm sticking to it. I know I tweeted out on accident in 6, but you can't
take it back. You can't take it back now, though. Bro.
okay, then. Okay, I'm gonna stay with 6 then. I think maybe Toronto steals one. I think they maybe steal game 2 in Oakland. But then they go back, and I think then it'd be what? It'd be 3-1, right? And then I think, right?
Would it be 2-2?
Be 2-2. Oh, it could be.
No, wait. Our math.
Well, they played 2 games over there, right? They played It's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah, and then I think they close it out then. Yeah, I think they do it in 6. I mean, if Durant doesn't come back, I mean, it's tough, for the Raptors or for the Golden State, for the Warriors to bring that every single night. I think the energy in the Bay really carry him through, game 3, but it's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask for Kawhi to put that team on their on his shoulders. We saw that in the early part of the third quarter. They just can't score. And it's difficult. When Golden State's making the right reads and they're switching properly and they're not forced to bring several people over to Siakam or the other supporting cast, it really becomes a one-man show.
For sure. A series is like a boxing match, man. Like sometimes you don't know what your opponent's gonna do. You prepare for something and they show you something different. You survive the first round and then you go back, you regroup, you get with your trainer. And you're like, all right, well, he's attacking you this way. Here's how we adjust. That's basically what just happened in game two. I don't think the Warriors were ready for a fast-paced game from the Raptors. I thought they were going to play a slow it down pace, and they were running. And I think that shocked Golden State. And in game two, I was like, okay, well, if we get back on transition D, we hit our shots. We're going to put pressure on Toronto to hit some shots. And then you started to notice in the third when Toronto started to panic. They started to take some ill-advised early in the shot clock threes. My dad was like, what are they doing? Like, why are they rushing? They're trying to keep up. And the more you try to keep up with Golden State, they're like a boa constrictor, man. They get you to play their style of game. That's what they want. And then it was just pretty much over from there. Even though Toronto made it close at the end, like Golden State buried them in the third quarter. They patented Warriors run.
Can't survive another horrible, horrible game from Marc Gasol. I mean, how many shots he takes? 6 shots only. He was like 2 for 6. He didn't look for his offense at all. He wasn't looking to play make. I mean, at some point, he's not the defensive player that he used to be. The one-time defensive player of the year.
Not at all.
Shocking to see now, but they can't survive another game like that from him. Ibaka.
Dude, I forgot all about him.
Yeah, right.
I was like, wait, Marc Gasol plays with Toronto?
Yeah,
I swear to God.
He scored 20 points in game one, and it was like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah,
it's just like with Siakam. It's like, it's just not sustainable, man. It's just not.
Yeah.
Lowry's got to step up for sure.
Joe, it's like the comparison you said with boxing. It's like Mike Tyson said, right? Everybody's got a game plan, so you get punched in the mouth. So that's kind of what's happening to Toronto, man, right now. So
and Golden State's been punched in the mouth before. They know how to respond. We're gonna see how. And I'm not gonna overreact to game two. I think this goes 6. I think the Warriors. It depends on Durant for sure. I think the Warriors have a tendency to play around a little bit. And Ross made a good point in our Bulls chat. Maybe they want to close this out at Oracle. It'll be the last game in the history of that stadium. If it's kind of arrogant,
and that's dangerous.
That is.
That'd be arrogant as hell, right? To be like, yo, we're just gonna close this out maybe that's true, but the '98 Bulls knew their run was over after the season. They didn't wait to go to Game 7. They went to Salt Lake and they buried them. Series over.
They had an opportunity to close it out in the game before that at the United Center.
Yeah, and they did,
and they pissed it away. So
yeah,
that's dangerous for dangerous. Sure. Yeah,
it'd be arrogant. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see it happen. But I told Ross, I was like, dude, that'd be an arrogant ass mindset to be like, yo, you know what? We'll give you one more game, but in 6 it's over, done. We'll just bring KD back and you're finished for sure.
I mean, if Danny's right, he comes back game 5. They lose that one and they win game 6. I don't know, man. I don't know what that does to his legacy.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yep.
All right. So let's get into the Giannis topic next. I'm going to, once again, show off our new features up in here, right? Let me show you something. Let me find it first. This was a poll that I ran earlier. Giannis Antetokounmpo is not a top 5 player in the NBA. Check out these results. Look at this.
Joe, you're smoking something, buddy.
Yeah, I got a pen now too, man. I'm fancy as shit, bro. Wow. And so it wasn't surprising though. I don't think it was surprising. Like I expected this in the chat. Like I was the only one who pretty much was standing up for my take. But I believe, and Tim and I are the same. I think I have something to back it up. But I know Danny, you're pretty high on Giannis, and we can kind of get into this. Okay. So it's kind of like a state your case thing, and we also have something that's going to be pretty dope. We are going to pull up some Telestrator stuff a little bit later on. But Danny, go ahead. What do you like about Giannis? Actually, do you think he's a top 5 player? You think I'm smoking something, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I do. I think he's a top player. As a Bulls fan, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like him because he played for Milwaukee. So I was like, this guy. I hate him because he'll kill the Bulls. But as far as like if I'm starting a team today, my number one pick will be Giannis. Number one. He's only 24 years old, man. You know, he hasn't even got to his prime yet. The guy's like a physical specimen, man. I haven't seen somebody run that fast, be that big and strong since LeBron, basically. And I think he's the next LeBron James. I think when LeBron's gone and his day's coming, man, you could tell that he's been slowing down a lot. I think this is going to be Giannis's league. You know, he averaged, I want to say, 27 points, 13 rebounds, and about like 6 assists this year. You know, so he had a really good year, man. He took a Milwaukee team that, to me, doesn't really have a Robin to his Batman. You know,
That's true. That's a good case. I mean, he has
Middleton.
Chris Middleton. Yeah,
that's it. But Chris Middleton, you know, does that name fly, you know, off the charts for you? No, he's a good player, absolutely. But on a real team like a Golden State, he's a 4 or 5. He's not even, you know. So he needs that guy. Once he gets that guy, like, what if Kyrie Irving went there and was there with them, you know, or a guy that's another elite player to team up with them. You know, I could see them guys giving Golden State a run for their money, man. So yeah, as far as Giannis, I think he hasn't even hit his prime yet. But once he gets that, Robin, I think that you're gonna see why I think he's one of the best players in the league.
All right. Tim, what you got?
I want to hear you, Joe. I want to hear you, buddy.
You want to hear me?
Me too. Please.
Do you want the visual representation to go along with it?
No. Yeah, let's share that. Let's share that afterwards. After you go, I go.
All right. Here's why I'm not smoking something. This should be a show segment, by the way. What are you smoking? Because weed's now legal in Illinois.
Yeah.
Some pretty big news. Giannis gets by a lot on his freakish athleticism, his freakish size, his freakish length. His inability to knock down a jumper is crippled him in that Toronto series. Once they figured out if we close the lane down on him, he struggles. And I think he lacks some nuance. I think he lacks some instincts, and maybe he'll grow. I'm arguing right now. I'm not saying he'll never be a top 5 player. I'm not saying that he is, his growth is limited and capped off now, because he's improved. He's been in the league 6 years. His stats have increased and improved every year. I'm not saying, hey, he's a bad player. He's obviously a top 10 player. But an elite player, his postseason stats are pretty good, okay, if we're box score reading. In the fourth quarter, I've got these stats. Let me kind of pull them up. So in the fourth quarter, in game 1, he had 4 points. Game 2, he had 11. Game 3 that went to double OT, he had 6. Game 4, he had 3. Game 5, he had 6 points. Game 6, he had 3 points in the fourth quarter. So 33.
In a closeout game.
33 of his 136 points were in the fourth quarter. Like, that's 5.5 points per game in the fourth. And I know scoring isn't just his game, okay? I understand he has defensive impact in other areas. But superstars, man, when their team needs something, they get him a bucket. They make a pass. He was not doing that consistently enough in the fourth quarter to make those plays. And a lot of that was because he was being shown things he's never seen before. They were closing off lanes. They were switching. We just mentioned how Marc Gasol was a really bad defender. I'm about to show you 2 plays a little bit later where you couldn't even get by Marc Gasol from the perimeter when he had a switch. Like, that's, I don't want to say unacceptable, but that's really disappointing for one of the freakiest athletes to ever come into the league, like just length and height-wise, to not be able to beat. How old is Marc Gasol now? He's got to be over 30, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
He can't beat him off the dribble. Like,
you got to put him on skates, bro. You got to put him on skates.
You're gonna have
Go
ahead.
I also think that that's also a reason for that is because, like I said, he just doesn't have that other guy where you have to worry about if Giannis is driving and kicking it out to, say, a Klay Thompson. You're not going to be able to close the lane all the time because you're going to leave Klay Thompson wide open. He doesn't have that guy, and even though throughout the year he had that one trick, he could drive in and score, And everybody knew that's all he did. And he still scored 27 points a game. That's really impressive, man. He's 24 years old. He's just got to develop that jump shot. I completely agree with you. He cannot shoot for anything. But if that guy developed a decent jump shot.
It's not even about, yeah, definitely. That should be his focus going into the summer. Jump shot, number one. Number two, have somewhat of a post game. Like, I know it's not the 90s, but like,
right.
you're like 6'10", bro. Like,
yeah.
Take somebody down into the post. When you got a mismatch, that creates other mismatches around the perimeter. The double comes, you kick it. That's an easy read. When you're just you're dribbling straight to the rim. You're not taking anybody off the dribble. You can't shake anybody. Like, you have to get in the gym and develop some type of moves. Like, you can't just rely off your athleticism.
But Tim, he's a shooting guard in a power forward or center's body, man. He's not one of those guys where, he can post up and, hey, give me the ball. He's just not one of those guys. Dude, I can't remember the last time I saw a basketball game and that was the focus of the other team was to post up. Like, those days are long gone, man. You guys that are 7 feet tall shooting threes. I never thought I'd live to see the day.
But what to Tim's point, I didn't include, like, we'll bring up the telestrator in a little bit because I think it's pretty dope. We're going to break out some new tricks to kind of show where I think Giannis was struggling a little bit.
Sure.
Which is maybe a little unfair because we're not going to show any positive Giannis plays.
Yeah, sorry, Danny.
That's okay.
Hey, man, it's our show. We do what we want, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
I'm just playing, man. But like, there was a couple of times when he had to switch to Lowry. Like, they did a pick and roll with Brogdon. Lowry got down on Giannis. Giannis should seal him and call for the ball over the. It's not even a post game. Call for the ball.
Yeah.
Do something. Like, you've got what? How tall is Kyle Lowry? 6'3". You've got an 8-inch, whatever his length is, advantage over Kyle Lowry, man. Like,
at that point, it's just like basketball knowledge, basketball IQ.
That's why I'm getting at, man. I think he can get there. He's not there yet. The lack of understanding of the little things, the little nuances, the instincts, the small things that could elevate him. Yeah, his jumper for sure, but it's also I'm not gonna say he's a dumb player. He's not a dumb player, but the little idiosyncrasies and the instincts and the awareness of where things are and how things are going on the court. He's a very reactionary player. He doesn't anticipate yet. He's still 24. He can grow. My argument was right now. So, that's
and I agree with Danny. I agree with Danny. If I'm starting a team, yeah, he's going to be like one or the first pick or the second pick. You know what I'm saying? Just because he's so young, he's still so raw. His body, just number one, is like, isn't incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just like, like his length and like the way he can maneuver around the court. Like, he takes off from the free throw line practically. And
Inspector Gadget, man. He looks like a fucking Inspector Gadget.
Like insane. Yes, I would select him if I'm building a squad. You know, but like, there's still so much room for improvement. Like, yes, he can knock down several threes, when like people back off of him. But at the same time, he can't shoot off the dribble. And that's the league that we play in, or not that we, but these guys playing nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, no one's just gonna, once they respect your shot, they're up in your grill. And you have to take people off the dribble. They're not just gonna like let you shoot an open three. And that's where most of his threes come from, his made threes, you know? So, I mean, yeah, he's definitely got to reinvent himself a little bit on the offensive end.
And the regular season is a little different than the postseason, too. And granted, his postseason stats are still pretty impressive. But then he ran into a team that plays really good defense. He ran into a really good coach. And there's nothing against Brad Stevens, but the Celtics were a different team this year defensively than the Raptors were. And the Raptors were like, all right, here's what you're doing. Here's what we're going to do. How do you counter that? And it was Middleton. Brogdon's a good player though. Brook Lopez had a really freaking good year. Mirotic was kind of hit and miss. Like, he kind of disappeared in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it wasn't like he was playing with a bunch of scrubs. I'm not saying that's what you're saying. Bobby punched him out of Chicago. So But it's just the little things that he needs to. It's just the little things that he needs to work on. That's all I was getting at.
Yeah.
And I think that's what separates. So I would take LeBron. I would take Durant. I would take Kawhi. I would
Curry.
take Harden and Curry over Giannis. I would put
Harden.
Yeah, I would.
Ooh.
I would vote for him for the MVP this year.
Harden.
Giannis. How you gonna? What did he average? He averaged like what 35 points a game.
Yeah,
he put that team on his back, bro. Like this dude. I mean, Giannis. The thing is, I think the NBA falls in love with stories too much. It's a great story.
Sure.
Giannis. He's coming into his own. He's 22 years old. He's averaging 27 points a game. Has an incredible stat line. He's emerging. And he takes his team. Elevates his team to first in the East. They love the story. James Harden had to bust his ass when Chris Paul went down. He's playing with people like Eric Gordon, which had a great postseason.
He did.
I mean, his stats were just unreal. He literally did it by himself. And he's like every possession, he's like, yo, get out the way.
Bro, here's some crazy stats about Harden. He averaged over a 5-game span. He averaged 52.2 points per game, which is tied for the second longest streak in history. What else we got? First player to score 55 points or more 3 straight times in a single calendar month since Wilt Chamberlain. Like the numbers that Harden was putting up, and yeah, Giannis had a great year, but I agree with Tim. It was like Harden was getting the respect, but he almost was doing it with less because Paul was hurt for a little bit this year, right?
He was.
So
yeah.
So he wasn't playing with a lot of guys too. And you know what we're gonna do right now? I'm gonna show off my new tool because I kind of want to give a visual representation of what I'm talking about here. So let's see if we can pop this thing up and see if it works.
Let's see if we can change it to mine.
Yeah, this segment's gonna be called "Change My Mind." How about that?
Change my mind, right? All right, so
I'm open. Hey, I'm open to it. Absolutely.
4 plays, right? So I'm going to roll all 4 plays live. Well, I'll roll each play live first, and we'll kind of go back and analyze. So this is fourth quarter, 4:50 left in the game. So Giannis gets the ball here, right?
You got to share your screen, homie.
Oh, you don't see it?
Oh, yeah.
I got you now.
I mean, I love your play-by-play voice, but there we go. Got a visual.
We working through stuff. Working out the kinks, Holmes. All right, you got it? All right, so he's in the post, right? Ball rotates. Okay, I want to rack this back, though, real quick and show kind of what I'm getting at with, like, the little nuances. So as it comes around the corner here, the ball goes here, right?
Yep.
Who's open in the corner, though? Right? And then Lowry's reaction is to close. Oops, didn't want to do that. Lowry's reaction is to close here. So if he gives a little pass fake here, bro, he's got Brogdon wide open for a 3. So those are kind of some of the little things that you learn, and maybe he will for sure. And I'm not saying that he can't get there, but that's one of the plays. Next one, or the next 2, he goes against Marc Gasol and switches. So here's a little screen. He's got Gasol, right? Let's bring that back again. Like, what? He can't pull up. Like, watch this here. Look how much space he's got. Like, this is a jumper, right, for somebody who can shoot. Then he drives. He's stuck. Now, what I would like to see him develop is something maybe he can pivot back here with the spin move.
But
a little nuance.
He's got Kawhi waiting there for him,
Mm-hmm.
He does. But we're talking about Marc Gasol and his ability to not be able to shake Gasol off the dribble. And that's kind of...
You do have 3 defenders, though, there, Joe.
You do, for sure. For sure.
But then again, to Joe's defense, I think it's set up that way because he can't shoot,
clogging the lane.
You don't have a reliable pull-up jumper, you know?
Yeah. He had 5 feet of space if he was confident in his shot. And here's the other one against Gasol that we'll roll on. I love that he calls for the ball here, and then he goes. Like, he attacks, which is great, man. Like, I'm not going to knock him for that.
It's good defense.
But we were just talking about how Gasol's not a good defender and is slow of foot. And I think Giannis has some issues getting by. This is, as he works on his game. How about you cross him here? Get him off balance just a tad. Or do like a step back or something just to get him off balance. But he's so straight line, man. Yeah. This is what he's doing. He's driving. His drives are very predictable. That's what I kind of wanted to show. There's no variation to his drives. He gets it and he goes, and there's no real counters yet, which makes him kind of a little bit more predictable. That was with 2:40 to go.
Danny's like, where's my video?
Sure.
Right? Nah,
it's a little unfair for sure. I'll admit that. And then last one, roll this real quick. Kind of gets stuck in the paint here and then kicks it back out. 24-second violation. Right? I mean,
this reminds me of like, in the NFL draft, they always show like the best plays of, all the players. They never show the shitty ones. Yeah. This is like all the worst.
Yeah. But just real quick. Right here.
No, this is good though. Yeah.
Right here. Just give the ball up. Just pass it. Quick. No. Okay. Fine. All right. I knocked him for not passing to George Hill at first, but I was like, you know what? Actually, he doesn't have a left hand. He could go up with his left hand right now, right? He could have maybe gotten like a lefty shot off.
Sure.
So he kind of picked up his dribble in some bad spots. So that was kind of what I wanted to get at. It was like a little new tool that we were going to try out. You guys are back up. And it's not fair. It's not completely fair. I will admit that. I found 4 plays. I wanted to see if it would work just to kind of show some of the things. He did have some plays, though, where he'd knock down a shot or he'd find a shooter. What's in front of him, he can see and he can execute. But it's what you can't see sometimes. It's what you can anticipate where somebody is or where somebody might not be. It's can he manipulate a defender? He's not there yet. If he gets there, if he develops a shot, yeah, I mean, you're looking at probably the face of the league, dude, for sure. I'm not sitting here. I won't disagree.
It's scary too. It's scary that he could be an MVP this year, with the lack of those skills. That's just how incredible he is.
Tim, where do you think he is, like, potential-wise? Like, as far, like, on a scale of 1 to 100, where do you think his game is at right now?
You're talking about 2K rating or what?
No, bro. Like I'm saying, do you think he's at
96?
Yeah, right. Let me go check that. Let me log in.
Yeah, like full capacity. It like jumps if he develops a jump shot. If he learns how to play a little bit more, do you think he's like 70% of what he's gonna be? Like 80% of what he could potentially be? Like
I think he's like. Let's just do 1 to 10. He's probably at like. But the thing is, I don't know how. Like sometimes people just don't develop jump shots. I would say he's probably 85% at capacity.
Okay.
I think his maximum capacity that being 100 is like you peak out completely. I think he gets to like maybe 95. So he's got room to grow. But if he does, develop a jump shot by a far margin, he's the best player in the league. I think
it opens up so much, dude.
I think up here he needs to mature a lot. I was really disappointed when they did the post game press conference and they asked him a question, he leaves. Even Chris Middleton looked at him like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah,
you got to man up. You got to be there when times are good and times are bad, man. You got to say, we played hard. Congrats to that team. They played their ass off. We'll be back. I'll work harder. But he just, he stormed off. That makes him look really bad.
I'd rather have you cry on the court, like
100%, like Joel Embiid. That shows you got passion.
Well, LeBron did that, right? That when the first times he got eliminated in the playoffs, he just completely walked off the court, didn't shake hands with the other team, and he got a lot of. He pulled an Isaiah.
Oh,
A lot of people get out. It's just agreed, man. You're gonna win. Be a champion, win the MVP, and all that for sure. Get all the glory. But when you lose, man up, respect the other team, or even if you want to be pissed in a press conference, I would have rather had him sit there and being like, "Yo, man, I don't think the best, something like just stand up, just sit up there, don't walk off,
right.
Just sit up there and face it and take it, because it's hard, man, for sure." No, I thought this is a good debate, and I apologize to Danny. That was a little unfair because I could have shown a little bit more that he did.
You ambushed me, Joe.
I did. Hey, this is what the power of the producer has, though, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So final topic that we are all on the same page with is Coby White and that rumored promise that he had from Steve Kyler. Now, I will say I was on the Real GM boards. I thought Steve Kyler was more respected than I guess he might be. Like Real GM, they can have a lot of crazies on there, but a couple of them that are really smart are like, no, this dude's full of crap a lot. So let's just kind of peel back the layers of this. I think all three of us are on the same page. We're not big fans of Coby White. Like, what do you think about this report, just in general?
So I think, they did this last year when they promised to Hutchinson. So I mean, it's not out of the question that it can be true. But with it presents so many problems because what if you promise this guy, we're going to draft you, no problem. Don't go work out for any more teams, no problem. But then somebody knocks your socks off with a trade, and you don't pick this guy. Like, how's that going to make you look around the league? Bulls already don't have the greatest reputation when it comes to, players. So, Coby White, I mean, I don't know if he's a guy that's gonna, change your organization. He's gonna be a good rotational player. But for you to promise, a player like that, that we're gonna draft you, I think that's nonsense. I don't think that's a smart idea.
Right?
You can't do that.
I just think it's crazy that this stuff keeps coming out from the Bulls organization. Like 2 years in a row, that's just crazy to me. Like, okay, Hutchinson, it's like signing Felicio. Just like, hey, we promised Felicio we're gonna sign him at the end of the season. Like, okay, but no one wants him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like Hutchinson, that comes out where he's like, he's 22nd on the board. Why leave your options open? You don't have to promise anybody anything. That's the good thing about being a GM. Like you get to choose. You don't have to promise anybody anything. What if something happens and like he tears his ACL or something like that, or God forbid, or somebody gets chosen before him or Barrett slides, something like that. Like it's bad for business, and it's crazy to me that this shit keeps happening.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought,
Joe. I don't know. It just makes me like cringe that this stuff continuously leaks if it's true.
If it's true.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
True, right.
And that's a big if. But like
they promised not just with Hutchinson, they promised James on Curry years ago. I don't know if you guys remember James on Curry in the second round. There was rumors that they promised that they would take him in the second round, and they did. So this is not just a one-time occurrence with Chandler Hutchinson.
And to be honest, there was I spoke to a few people, 5 years ago when they drafted Doug McDermott, and there was a rumor floating around like that they promised him something too. And we traded, who do we trade? Gary Harris,
2 picks,
Nurkic.
yeah,
and Nurkic.
And Nurkic, yeah. How would those guys look in a Bulls uniform right now, huh?
Yeah, I would love that.
Boy, oh boy.
Here's my take. All right, so one, if it's true, this is really bad. To both of your points, why would you take all of your options off the table before at the start of the evaluation period? What happens? I don't know. If Damian Lillard becomes disgruntled and Portland comes to you and says, "Hey, we'll give you Dame. We actually don't want two of your core players. We just want one. Well, we want Lowry, Markkanen, and your 7 pick. What, you're going to turn that down because you made a promise to Coby White? Now, that's pretty asinine trade scenario, but that's just this is kind of where we're going with this. Is why it's same thing with Hutchison. Aaron Holiday could have been a potential option. I know, Tim, you really liked him. Like, if Hutchison was your guy at the end, fine. But why are you making promises or rumored promises? Because I don't know for sure. I don't want to I don't want to get into that. But why are you making rumored promises? Like, why is that even out there? It doesn't compete with me. And with Coby White, before the like when they got 7 in my head, I was like, man, it's going to be Hunter or Coby White. That's like the blueprint Garpax like type of mold from a blue blood program with a pedigree, good work ethic, good character, checks all the boxes. And then this rumor comes out that they promise, and it feels too true. That's my issue with it.
It checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it is, but it lines up with who like would fit their mold of player. And that would really upset me. Picking White would actually upset me. And we're going to run some Coby White stuff in the background while we're talking, so you don't see our ugly mugs.
You actually agree with this time, Danny. So
Yeah, right, exactly.
You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
You got that?
You know, Joe, like, he's not a bad player. I mean, I think he's, if not the fastest, one of the fastest players in the draft. The guy can score, but he's a shoot-first point guard, man. And we got Zach LaVine on this team. We have Lowry. You know, we have players that don't want the ball. Where are you going to find touches for them? You can't play with 2 basketballs. You know?
And
So,
it puts more pressure on LaVine, too, to create more. That's my issue.
Right,
Like
exactly.
Zach should be more focused on scoring. I think he's got some ability to run an offense. He was 17th in the league in usage rating last year. It actually went down. Like, he was like top 3, top 5 for a little bit. He was doing everything.
Yeah.
Because he had no point guard play. And I don't like the fit either with White. Like, I think he's a solid player. The bigger thing for me is more like the fit. Does White make anybody really better? I mean, this is a highlight, so you're going to see him passing and doing a lot of crazy stuff. Right. But he doesn't really. Danny, you're right. He's a score first guy. That's his first instinct, is to get buckets. And I know it's a scoring league, but Markkanen and Carter and LaVine and Porter, they could really, really use a dude who could set them up. That's what intrigued me about maybe John Morant, if we could have gotten him, or like even like Darius Garland, or going after. I know, Tim, you're not a huge fan of Lonzo, but Lonzo would be a really good.
Yeah, go after LeVar Ball. I mean Lonzo Ball.
LeVar, yeah.
But no, you can at least admit that Lonzo would be a good fit here with. Oh shit, we got
a good
ads.
Passer.
Snap.
Hey Google.
This part of
Google.
the show is brought to you by Google.
Hey, we're sponsored now.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, I there's always going to be a place for a scorer in the league.
Yeah.
But he can't read the game, and who knows if his scoring translates into the NBA. I know he has trouble getting around people sometimes, and then he gets stuck. That's the things that I worry about with Coby White.
Tim, you know who I think this guy reminds me of? I think his ceiling is Gilbert Arenas. You remember Gilbert Arenas?
Gilbert Arenas could shoot the lights out, though.
That's who this guy reminds me of as far as the ceiling. Like, I think that if this guy, like, you know, pans out.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy because I was on. So I had my other podcast, right, and I taped with my boy Dan, and that's his comp.
Yeah.
For Coby White, no lie, for real. That's his ceiling comp.
His name is Dan too. See, I mean, we think alike, man.
Yeah, say Dan and the comp. You know? Arenas had a really weird career. When he was prime, he was averaging like 25 points for those 3 years in Washington. Then he got weird, and then his numbers fluctuated, and he had a really kind of strange
guns in his locker room.
Yeah, with what was it, Javaris Crittenton, right? That was a funny story.
The card game gone bad, huh?
Yeah. No,
but yeah, I don't see him ever reaching that type of level as a player. You know, like, I mean, Gilbert Arenas, I mean, he took games over, and he wasn't able, he didn't even hesitate to shoot. Coby White I've never seen him in a game where he's like, yo, I'm gonna hit a step back three right now in a clutch moment. I think Gilbert just kind of he slept in like a hyperbaric chamber, and like this dude was like cut from a different cloth. Like, like this he was insane. But like he took over the Wizards at a time where like they had no other scores, and I mean he dropped 50 like several times, in his career.
What are you talking about? They have Brendan Haywood.
Yeah, and they had Caron Butler too.
Didn't Antonio Davis got into a fight with Brendan Haywood, right? Was that back in the day? I don't know if you guys remember that, but
When he
Antonio
was
Davis
with
was a beast, man.
Indiana,
he was.
Indiana.
No,
Antonio
no,
Davis?
Chicago
It was with
Bulls.
the
Antonio.
Bulls? Oh,
I think
shit.
he got into a fight with Brendan Haywood when Haywood was with the Wizards. White, like if we had a star already that could create and score, like if we had a star already, I would be more okay with White. It's just not a big enough swing. All right, the first thing I noticed when I watched White, I liked him. Then I found out he was 6'4" or 6'5". I was like, he's 6'5"? He doesn't play like he's 6'5". Then you find out, oh, his wingspan is also 6'5". That's a problem. Like, measurements and all that stuff. I know a lot of people scoff at it. They matter, man. Inches matter. Like the Al Pacino speech in Any Given Sunday. The inches are everywhere around us, you know? But when there was a play against Louisville where he tried to jump the passing lane. Yeah, I think I should have auditioned for that role. Yeah. I think I should have killed it, right? There's a play against Louisville where he tried to cut off a passing lane. He tried to jump a passing lane. He was like that close to getting the ball. If he was a little longer, he maybe could have gotten it. Or he'll slide and he'll try to contest, and he's inches away from getting a shot block.
Yeah.
Like length, that's why Chris Dunn can get into passing lanes. That's why Rondo was so good at getting in passing lanes, because they had freakish wingspans. Like he's tall, but he's not long. Like, and he's not an explosive athlete. He's got a quick step, first step. He can get to the hole, but he's not super explosive either. I like him. I don't see a special trait. Like, I'm not guaranteeing that Reddish or like Kevin Porter, or if you go Culver, I'm not guaranteeing that they would be stars. I just see, or Barrett, I see more of a pathway for those guys to get to stardom than I do with Coby White. And I just don't think White moves the needle enough for you to rumored, promise him at 7.
And that's what frustrates me the most, man. Like, if you're gonna promise someone, why don't you just promise John Morant? You know what I'm saying? Look, if you fall
Zion,
we're gonna pick you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't promise Coby White.
Yeah,
promise Zion. Promise Zion Williamson. You know,
so guys, how mad would you be if both White and Garland are there, and we select White over Garland because of that promise? Would you?
I'm throwing myself off this balcony.
I'd be pretty pissed.
Yeah.
There's a small sample size of Garland, so we don't have a macro view, I guess, or macro evaluation of him. But I think he has more ball skills. He's got a better handle.
He reads
He's got a better shot.
1,000 times better.
I know the assist to turnover ratio. But it took Coby White a little bit to get going too. Like some people will say, well, Garland, he kind of struggled to start in some spots. Well, Coby White took a little bit to heat up. They're freshmen, man. Like who knows what Garland would have done? But I think his traits translate, and he already can shoot it. He's a 3-level scorer. He actually wasn't too bad defensively either. And rumors are that he's put on some weight, some muscle, and some girth, which is a positive for him. Yeah, I'd be pretty upset because even though Garland is also score first, I think he possesses more natural passing and playmaking traits than White does, in my opinion. I could be completely off. Maybe Coby White's a future superstar, and we look back at these episodes and whatever shit I've spewed on Twitter and podcasts, and I look like an idiot.
If the comp is Gilbert Arenas for Coby White, the comp for Darius Garland is Damian Lillard. So.
Oof.
Well, those are two really high expectations for both of those players. But I'd rather have the Dame mold, that can kind of read the game, could knock down, step back threes. And he was highly, highly recruited at high school too. So I mean, it's not just, you know, he just kind of just took over the college ranks and, you know, was balling out. He only played 4 games. That's the concern. But I'd rather take a flyer. I'd rather swing for the fences, like I've said previously.
Yeah, I just don't. He won't be there though. I think that Lakers promise is real. Like the clutch sports connection.
What's with all these promises?
It's I
don't know, man.
Insane.
I don't know.
Exactly.
You know.
So what? Who? I mean, as far as like the top four, who do we have? We have Zion, we have Barrett, we have Reddish, right? Those are the top three. And then where do we go from there?
Well, it's got to be Morant too, right?
Morant's two, right? And then we got
Barrett. And then at four, you think the Lakers are probably going Garland. So probably, I think they made a promise to him.
Okay.
So and then five.
Lonzo has to be gone then, huh? Good as gone.
Yeah, right. I still think there's a legit chance that maybe the Bulls trade for him, which I know Tim might throw himself off the bridge for that one if they trade 7. I'd be okay with it. That's where he and I disagree. But yeah, I'd rather that kid from where's he from? Siku. Forget how to pronounce his last name. It's Diomba. I don't know, but he's like a Siakam type player. Mm-hmm. He's really raw. I'd almost rather take a shot at him at 7 than going after Coby White. You know what? Maybe the Siku kid, maybe he takes a little bit to develop, but he's got a monster ass ceiling if you give him a little bit of time. I'd rather just wait for that than take Coby, in my opinion. If you're gonna, because I just feel like you're settling for a need, and I don't want to settle for a need. I'd rather take the best player on your board with the biggest upside.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
Don't take the one with the highest, the highest floor.
At a position of need, man. If Coby White wasn't a point guard, would you take him? Like, I get needs analysis and all that stuff, but if you've got a guy that's higher ranked on your board with a bigger upside, take the upside. Mm-hmm. You're still acquiring talent here, man. We're not getting a marquee free agent, I don't think. So, accumulate critical mass. Talent.
What we did with Denzel Valentine? We took a position of need, a player with a position within a position of need, with a high floor. And how has that worked out?
He's on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dream scenario is that somehow Reddish falls to us and, maybe somebody else takes White ahead of us.
Have him go 6. Have him go 6 to the Suns so we don't have to make that choice.
They're known for great draft choices too. So
yeah, man.
Sure.
I guess
that's sarcasm.
They're trying to trade. They're trying to trade for a veteran point guard, so they might not want it. I just, kind of hold our breath at 7. And if it's Coby White, I'm probably just gonna put my head down and realize that our instincts were right all along. If it's not, and they go Hunter, I don't know. If you're gonna take Hunter, just take Rui. Take Hachimura, man. He's got a bigger ceiling. If you're going to swing on a power forward wing type, go for the kid who's a little bit more raw, who has a bigger ceiling. Don't take the floor guy.
Or trade down. That's an option. I know Atlanta was wanting to trade up, I think, to take a point guard as well. Why not trade down with them?
Yeah, maybe you select Siku there, or maybe you select Kevin Porter. I'd almost rather do that than
why not?
Take Coby.
Get some more picks, and there's also a rumor I heard at I think it was Golden State wanted to give away their 20th pick because they don't want to pay for I guess the slot, and they can save some money. The luxury tax, right? Yeah. So if you're the Bulls, you want to get as many good young players as you can. Talk to them. Hey, let's we'll take your pick. Why not?
Dude, we're not getting a marquee free agent. I don't feel it. Or, dude, you know what? This guy, I know, Tim, you've argued that he doesn't do good on back-to-backs, but like somebody like D'Angelo Russell, what happens if Kyrie goes to Brooklyn? Like Dinwiddie or Russell's gone. They cannot have 3-point guards on their roster. So one of those two is gone. They just gave Dinwiddie a 3-year contract extension in December. Russell's a restricted free agent. If I'm the Bulls, screw it. Show up to his door, give him a max contract and offer it to him and see if the Nets match. I'd almost rather do that. Because at least Russell has shown.
Before you know it, he's gonna start taping Lowry Markin and talking crazy to his girlfriend.
Cheating on his wife or something, yeah.
Hey, he's still a baller though. Hey,
Bro.
you can do that as long as he balls. As long as he balls.
If he's gonna do anything, tape Gar talking to his side
Oh,
chick, you know, get him fired. But no, I'm kidding. But I'd be willing to take a flyer on him. You know, I don't know about a max deal for D'Lo. I don't know if I go that.
23 or it's like 23 or 27 mil. I forget the number, but or it's 20. It's 27 mil. We have the ability to free up 23 mil right now, so we'd have to dump some contracts, which you could easily do. But I'd just rather go that route, honestly.
Yeah.
Because at least we've seen
No,
Russell
I get it.
have a path to stardom. That's I'd almost rather go that, but it's probably just it's a pipe dream, man. It's probably not going to happen.
You know, guys, but I want the Bulls to at least host these guys, man. I mean, you're gonna miss every shot you don't take. Host Durant, host Kyrie, host Jimmy Butler, like all the main guys. Bring them in, man. You know, take a shot. You just never know. You know,
would they
I know
come,
chances are
would they actually give you a visit? Would they actually give him a visit?
Who knows? You know, who knows? I mean, money talks, man. I mean, if you want to be the man, what better place than in either Chicago or New York? You know, Chicago, New York, LA.
Instead of sending Benny the Bull to the airport, we should send Betty the Bull or something. I don't know. Switch it up.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Like we got to do something. We got to think outside the box here.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Tim, you ready to wrap?
Let's do it.
All right, Danny, my dude. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, man. It was a pleasure. You guys are awesome. I'm glad I met you guys.
You still like me even though I didn't show you any good Giannis stuff.
No, not a problem, man. it makes for a good show. You can't, I can't agree with everything, So it made for a good show.
Now we appreciate you coming on. I got one. We're gonna start doing this. We're gonna do one final question with the guests. So sure. I talked to you last night, and you have all these Marvel posters up and comic book posters up. If you could be any superhero, who would you be? And what's your favorite comic of all time?
Oof, superhero. I mean Superman, dude. How could you not pick Superman? He's Superman. He's Superman. I can do anything. I'm the strongest guy in the world. I shoot lasers from my eyes. I mean, what? Come on. Fastest guy in the world, Superman. That's easy. My favorite comic would actually be The Punisher. Believe it or not, The Punisher. I've always liked The Punisher. That was the first comic that my brother gave me, which is probably not good to give like a 5-year-old child a mature comic, but whatever. I turned out fine. So yeah, that's my favorite character for sure.
Why the I know is it just because your brother gave you that comic, or is there something else special about that comic?
Yeah, he was just he wasn't a superhero, man. He was just a guy that lost his family and he kills a bunch of criminals and shit. And I don't know, man. I just got hooked on it. So,
Tim, if you're a superhero, screw it. Let's go around the table. Who would you be? Any superhero?
I'd probably be Batman, dude. Honestly, just to have all the women. Is my girlfriend around? All the women that I want. Just all the money, the power. Yeah. Pretty much, you could buy yourself into a superhero. That's what's pretty dope about him. And then I love his the nemesis is he went up against like the Joker and Bane and all those guys. Like it's the Penguin, that stuff is really pretty dope.
All right,
Joe, what about you? Batman, right?
You can't go wrong with Batman.
Me, I'd choose Thor.
Okay.
For one, I think it's my dad's favorite. It's either him or Spider-Man, I think. But I watched the Marvel movies, and I've never really read a comic book, but just watching all the Marvel movies, like I thought his growth throughout he and Iron Man, I thought their character arcs going from like a demigod to have you guys seen the new one yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tim, have you seen the new one yet?
Nah.
Okay. Don't spoil it, man.
I can't spoil it. Going to where he did like the humility, he became like a human, and he thought he failed.
Great, you just ruined it.
Yeah, I did. My bad, dude. But just like how arrogant he was, and to how grounded he became, just that transformation of the character, and he had to freaking hammer and an axe, dude, and he can fucking fly. And who would win in a fight, Thor or Superman?
Superman would beat his ass.
Woo!
Superman.
Batman, bro.
Well, you know what? You're right. You know that Batman has a weapon to beat every single superhero. Like,
it's called the Ben Franklin, baby.
yeah, right, exactly, money. But no, Batman actually has a weapon that I'm gonna nerd talk you guys, but every single hero, he has a weapon to defeat them. So if they like, Batman gave him the weapon that could kill them. So if you ever turn bad and like went against like humanity, Batman would be the guy to kill him. It's crazy. Yeah, man.
Put me on a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Good choice, Tim. Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'd be that. Yeah.
So be careful.
This is pretty dope, man. Like we went over an hour, and it felt like it was nothing. So that's how you know when you had a good talk. Danny Garcia, follow him. Danny, what's your handle on Twitter, dude?
You know what? Let me check because I haven't been on Twitter in so long. But you guys have motivated me to be on the social media.
Danny's about to tweet some fire, so follow him.
Let's see here. I am at Luis, Luis _ Fuego, Fuego.
Right on, buddy. We're going to bring you on again soon. And we really appreciate the time. The story of us meeting is pretty awesome as well. And for all you out there, Tim and I are going to be doing this every week. We won't reveal the guest next week, but we got a special one coming for you. And we're just going to talk hoops all day, every day. We're going to add some little flavor to the show, some more videos, some more segments, maybe some more Telestrator stuff. And next time I'll be sure to show something that the guest may want to see instead of what I wanted to see. I want a little bit of a power trip, I get. No, I'm just kidding. No, hang with us. This is going to be a great show. We're going to grow, and we appreciate y'all checking in and watching with us. So peace out.